Hey everyone, Pupsker here, and today in Warframe we have a double affinity, which is, double EXP weekend. Some things to note with double affinity rates for the weekend. You see how there's an event affinity booster? That is the weekend affinity booster. It stacks with relay boosters, so as you can see, affinity blessing booster right there. It also stacks with market boosters, and it'll stack with any sort of increase affinity type skills or bonuses you get, such as I think Nightmare bonus XP from Nightmare missions, such as Grineer bonus affinity from just killing Grineer. I think Grineer give 25% bonus affinity, so yes, all of the affinity boosters, they do stack, and I believe they are multipliers. So you throw on an event affinity booster, you throw on market affinity booster, and you throw on the affinity blessing booster, and I believe it rounds out, same with credit booster by the way, to about 5 times X, like 5X booster. So if you're going to grind, if you're going to level things, right now is the time. Level up Dante, level up your Onos, level up your Ruvox. If you have any Kuva weapons, any Tenant weapons, if you have the Necromech or Railjack, anything like that to level up, this is the perfect time to do that. Just because I know how much people really hate Railjack and really hate Necromech. So this is a great opportunity to do all of that, and if you can pick up a market booster, it makes it a little easier. It jumps you to 4 times market, or 4 times affinity boosting. So let's talk about some of the best spots to actually gain affinity. Starting off with the obvious, once you unlock and get far enough into the game, you unlock Sanctuary Onslaught and Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. These are just generally the best maps to level casually on, right? If you just want to play the game, you just want to chill, run these maps. They just give the most XP. They're pretty much Warframe's dedicated affinity farming mode. As much as people, like it or hate it, that is 100% what this is. There's a couple of reasons. The spawns are really good. You can't spam your 4th ability. You can only use it 2, maybe 3 times in a 30-second time spam. So it has some weird gimmicks to it, but it's a smaller map, which means everyone shares affinity because the affinity share range is 50 meters. So remember that if you're trying to level up and you're in a group, everyone should stay together. So that's what makes this map so good. You'll get a ton of affinity, and all you need to do is just casually play it. That's all you have to do. And then there's a ton of other maps in general which are good to level. Grineer maps in general, I know people still like, Saturn, Helene, right? Still a good one. The other one? Sedna, Hydran. People still like those. Another thing, they are similar to the ESO-SO maps. Hydran and Helene, they're small maps, so they're very condensed, and they are Grineer maps, so you get more affinity, which is, there's a lot of open squads. A lot of people will be playing this weekend. So Hydran on Sedna, as well as Helene on Saturn. It's a fan favorite. A lot of people like it. You get good affinity, and you just kind of chill on one map. I still think ESO and SO is faster, but a lot of people like running these maps. Different rewards, different loot, etc. Again, though, you can run any Grineer map to get a little bit of affinity boost if you so choose, but that's up to you. For Railjack farming, I would say just do the higher level stuff and just grind it out and just kill a lot of maps. So just go do stuff like Grid, Cloud, Flexa. It doesn't really matter too much, but it's Grineer here and it's Corpus there. So yeah, fight the Grineer maps, fight the higher levels, and then just grind it out. So I know a lot of people hate Railjack, and I know a lot of people hate their Necromech. So if you can grind out your Necromech, maybe go do some Earth bounties, maybe go do some Deimos or Fortuna bounties, because I know it really depends what you love or hate, but I would level it on Earth bounties myself. Kill some of those Grineer baddies, but Earth can also just kind of suck. So Necromech, am I right? You can also level it a little bit on Lua if you've unlocked the higher level maps like Conjunction Survival, and there's a handful of other places here and there. I think some Railjack stuff you can level it with too, so keep that in mind. The Void Endless missions are actually pretty decent to run. If you didn't know, if you have a reason to, right? I like running Endless Void Mont Survival when there is a Fissure, because if you run an Endless Mode Survival long enough, you gain a lot of affinity boosting. The issue is you need to stay long enough for that affinity boost to matter, and usually by the time you stay long enough, you're going to be max level far before it even takes effect. So this is a little weird one, but if you want to level Void, Endless, General, Mont, Void, and relic farming is good in the Void, so it's not a bad idea. It's just not going to be as optimal as something like ESO, and the affinity boosting and anything like that you find on an endless mission just won't really be quite as good, but it is a good endless mission still, Void mod and just the Void in general, to collect relics, to get levels, and do that casually around the game. Those are, I'd say, the best leveling spots in general. There's still a lot of good leveling spots. I know people like Celestia for Arcwing if you want to level up your Arcwing, so it might be a good idea. If you plan to level up your Arcwing, just run Celestia for a while. But again, Warframe has expanded a ton, so there's a lot of good maps. I also like leveling on Zariman because I like the Zariman map tile. And I would always say level on tiles that you need to farm unless you really need to level up things like very, very optimally, then just run SO. But if there's a lot of other things you need to farm, I would always try to get both of those done, like farm out your quests along with your Warframes and weapons, just so you can get multitude of things done. But if you do have to grind hard and you need a ton of affinity and like 10, 20 weapons, Warframes everywhere leveled, 10 here, 10 there, right? Then yeah, ESO, SO is best, but it is what it is. And yeah, a lot of people have been having issues with the higher level content because it's, you know, nowadays, if you go to Deimos, you can do higher level stuff. It'll get you leveled fast, but it's a little higher. But a lot of people have been having issues with the Necromechs, and that's because they have some damage attenuation stuff built in, so that can be a pain if you need to deal with damage, high damage, damage attenuation. Just straight up build up the most damage you possibly can, build up your multipliers, shoot out all of their possible limbs, because Necromechs suck, and then go from there. Because I know a lot of people have been running all of the new Disruption mission and have to kill the new not Eximus, but mech units. And I've been leveling on the new Armistice, game mode as well, casually. And yeah, it's a pain because you need a really strong weapon. So it's still best to level in all of those other maps. There's also a handful of leveling methods that you can use. I think you can get pretty dope silence stealth affinity kills. There are a couple ways to do this that people like. You can just run a straight up stealth silence or like invisible Warframe, and you can go around assassinating all of the people and you get a stealth affinity bonus. The issue is like enemies can't see. So what a lot of people do is they run a large AoE as much range as possible, silence on Banshee Prime. It stuns enemies and will limit their perception and tactical response to gunfire and Warframe attacks, meaning you can go around, you can kill everyone, and you can keep them silenced for a very long duration. If you look, the default duration's 30 seconds, so you don't actually even need to build duration. It's just, this is, I think, a lot of people's favorite affinity leveling method. So, in order to do this, go to a Grineer map, take Banshee, take an invisibility if you want, because if you're invisible and you silence enemies around, it eliminates the fact that an enemy may see you across the map or something like that. So you can take silence, you can take a type of invisibility. I know you can just do Loki. Loki has an augment mod that fully silences him when he's invisible. So there's a lot of boosts you can get around in Warframe to make leveling faster, and the stealth affinity kill boost is just one of them. Now, if we go look at the Warframe wiki, it always has a ton of good info. I always love checking out the Warframe wiki. It has a ton of info on boosters, things. You can use Smita, Charm, right? So there's a lot of boosters if you have a Smita with Charm. Nice, nice. That can get good stuff, good affinity boosts. They have the entire acquisition breakdown here. The TLDR is use and kill enemies with the thing you want to level. If you're going to use your Warframe to kill the enemies, your Warframe, I think, gets all of the affinity. If you use a certain weapon, that weapon gets most of the affinity, and then it shares it out to everyone around you. Warframe also has affinity share between your party. Everyone within 50 meters shares the affinity you or your teammate gets from killing an enemy. So let's say your teammate kills an enemy, right? That affinity is shared with you, and I believe the affinity is shared around equally. So it is really good if you have on your team someone who is nuking all of the enemies with their Warframe, as long as it's not you, because that teammate will kill all of the enemies and all of that affinity gets shared to you and gets shared out pretty equally amongst your Warframes and weapons and etc, etc. So it's all really good. Kill with weapons, half affinity to the Warframe, half to the weapon, right? Kill with Warframe, all to the Warframe. There's a lot of goofy stuff, but the TLDR is if you're leveling something, try to get kills and use that specific weapon, even if it's less optimal. And I would still recommend running it in publics instead of solos to make it a little easier experience, unless you're doing some sort of niche strategy, such as the silence or invisibility silence method, either with Banshee, Loki. There's a lot of other ways you can do it, but yeah, there's operator affinity gain, there's companion affinity gain, right? So if you want to pause and look over any of this, go for it. There's a lot of info and it's not super worth reading all over it. Oh, this is where it goes over the stealth affinity kill bonus. The TLDR is stay stealth, stay silenced, don't get caught, and assassinate and kill the enemies, and you'll get a dope ass bonus up to 500, yeah, 500% affinity, which is huge, because if you're at 5x affinity and then you throw on 500%, dear God, you're leveling so fast, you're gonna level in straight up minutes. It's actually a joke. And then there's straight up bonus affinity. If player completes a mission successfully, they gain bonus affinity. So remember, always complete your missions, and yeah. Okay, the squad affinity range is 50 meters by default. As I was saying, affinity range share is 50 meters by default, but there are ways that you can get it increased, which means that you can get so much affinity share. So keep that in mind. There are always things you can do, abilities, right, that'll make it so you get more type of general affinity or general affinity range. You know, there's a lot of abilities out there that'll make it a little easier to level. There's leveling the requirements if you want to look over those, if you're curious. I'm not going to like pause and read over all of them. There are a handful of weapons such as Necromech, Tenet weapons, Kuv weapons, Paracesis that can go to level 40. So if you need to get something to 40, go for it. Level scaling in Warframes, actually, yeah, it can get pretty aggressive, but all of that is, I'd say, what matters. If you need any of this, just look over it, pause it. I'm not going to go over anything huge. Looks like these are some of the missions people like. Yes, Pluto Spy if you want, Sedna, Adaro, Exterminate, people like that. Yeah, Veil Proxima, R9 Cloud. Yeah, so people like some of those spots, it seems. Neptune, Celestia. Yeah, the spots, the like really good meta spots haven't changed a ton in the long time, right? Dark Sector missions. Oh, I think I was saying Nightmare before, but no, it's Dark Sector missions that give a bonus. Nightmare missions do give a bonus, but it's a different bonus. Either way, so you can always run your Dark Sector missions if you want, but not really a huge deal. I would still just run ESO, SO, and everything from there, so yeah, let me know what you think. If you have any general leveling tips for Warframe, anything you like specifically, let me know. I'm kind of curious, but I'm just more of a casual player. I just yeet myself onto ESO, SO, chill with chat, shoot the shit, and kill some enemies. So I'm probably going to run up some random Warframe. I don't even think I need anything to level right now. So I'll just do Zephyr, fly in the sky, do a ton of damage with my Boar Prime, because I still need to get some Forma on this, and then I should be good to go. But, you know, of course, all of this takes a lot of time, so don't rush it if you don't need to. Warframe's a huge game. I and many others have thousands of hours in it. It is a chill, grinding farm simulator after all. So let me know what you think. Love you. Cheers. Sub, like, App Games creator, code Pupsker.